Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Soul-u-tions podcast. I just found out that this is episode number 66. I just want to thank you for hanging around for 66 episodes. I know that you're busy and that you could be doing a million other things with your time other than turning in to listen to the Soul-u-tions podcast. I just want to say, thank you. I recognize that you're spending your time here. And I want you to know that because I value you so very much, that I really try to pick topics that are meaningful to you. And today's episode is one of those topics. This is 7 pieces of wisdom that no one has ever told you about before, and you really can't live without for 1 second longer. So I'm going to let you listen to the intro. And I really want you, this intro is so important because we can never be reminded enough about what it takes to solve the problems that we have in the world today. And what it is a shift in your level of thinking. So listen to the introduction, and I'll meet you on the other side.
Einstein said, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them." Most everyone in the world is solving their problems the wrong way. Our problems come from our thinking, and we can solve them with our thinking. So whether you're at your lowest, just trying to grow, or whether you are trying to sustain growth over your lifetime, join us as we push the boundaries of our current thinking and redefine how we find Soul-u-tions.
The hope and the strength and the love and the smiles and the laughter of friends and family. Add it up, you'll find no limit to the possibilities.
Well, talk about a shift in the level of your thinking. Today in the Soul-u-tions Labs, which is my coaching membership for women, 7 nuggets of wisdom were totally dropped by different women in the class. And this is the beauty of meeting in person, over Zoom, live, to think through a scenario, or as we did today, think through a prompt to give yourselves an opportunity to reflect back on where you've come from in your life and to reflect forward on where you want to go in your life. And when you do that in a room of women who are aged 35 to 75, what you're going to get are just these pieces of wisdom and nuggets that someone at 75 has to share that you at maybe 56 haven't even lived through yet. And today was one of those days. So I want to dive in and share with you first the quote that was my inspiration for today's class, and then the prompts that I gave the members in the Soul-u-tions Labs. And I hope that you have a pen and a journal. If you don't, just go run get them right now. Either hit pause or keep playing while you go get one. And I'm telling you, like the back of a receipt, the back of an envelope that came in the mail, anything will do. It doesn't have to be a precious special journal. It's just we need to get it out of your head through this amazing technology called handwriting and onto a page so that you can give yourself space to listen to your own soul and what it has to say and the answers that it has for you. Okay, so here's the quote. Can you remember who you were before the world told you who you should be? It takes courage to grow up and become who you really are. This is a quote that's attributed to Charles Bukowski. And when I first read it this week, I was like, oh, I love this quote for several reasons. One, it's the invitation to look in the rearview mirror, right? To be backwards looking at where you were when you were younger, right? Before you knew that you were supposed to be a good girl or a good boy, before you thought, oh, I need to be a good student, a good mother, daughter, wife, friend, all the good things, right? Just when you were freer to be you. And then to recognize the amount of courage that it takes to face the things that happen in an ordinary life. Because what no one tells you is, back to the introduction, what no one tells you in your life enough, if they do tell it to you, is that life is 50-50. This is one of our big tenets here in the Soul-u-tions podcast and in the Soul-u-tions Labs. Life is 50% good and 50% hard, 50% joy, 50% loss, 50% health, 50% sickness. It's not just, and then you live happily ever after. It's, and then you live and life happens. And you are challenged to take the gifts that you've been given inside of you, to meet what life gives you, and to create your own happily ever after. So in this prompt, it's just a reminder that it takes great courage to become the version of you that you were always meant to become. And it's really valuable to reflect on that courage. Okay. So the first prompt is, who were you before the world told you who to be? Who were you before the world told you who to be? And what courage did it take to become who you are today? All right, that's the backward-looking prompt. The forward-looking prompt. Who is the world telling you to be today? Who is the world telling you, the you that's listening to this podcast right now, to be today? And what courage will it take you to become who you want to be tomorrow? The woman you want to be in the next 20 years? The woman that you want to be at the end of your life? You can hit pause if you want to and just set your timer. We set it for 5 minutes and just free write your answers to that prompt. Or you can just listen to the takeaways and then go back and answer the prompts. There really is no right or wrong way. So sometimes we need a little inspiration. We need for people to say, hey, what did you hear in that prompt? And that's just fine. It's really just whatever you want to do. And you might be driving and you're like, yeah, I'd love to hear what everybody else says. And you might just be super curious about that. So, okay. After class, I distilled all of the nuggets of wisdom into 7 nuggets that I want to share with you. Okay. Nugget number 1. You have already shown tremendous courage in your life to become the person you are today, the person who's listening to this podcast, the person who's walking, the dog on the greenway, the person who's driving her car, the person who is taking care of an aging parent whose best day is today, right? The person who is showing up for a parent who's sick, whose tomorrow is never going to be better today. That takes such courage. The person who has raised her children and who's sending them off to school and waiting to see, what they do with their life. That takes tremendous courage. The person who has stayed married to this partner of yours for however many years that you've been married, really, whether it's 1, 30, 50, 60, it doesn't matter. It really takes an incredible amount of courage to allow your partner to see the best you that you have, and the tired, exhausted, worn out, not best you that you have. So take a moment, hand over your heart. I'm closing my eyes here, and I'm just like recognizing and reflecting on how much courage it has already taken to get to this place today. And what one of our members said when we were sharing, she's like, what she can't believe is that when she was the younger version of herself, like she would focus on all of the beautiful things of life. And then there were the things that she was afraid of. And as she sat in class today with all these other amazing women, she shared, I never knew I'd have to face all of my worst fears. Wow. I mean, and this was her first class, her first lab, her first day in the lab. And she just jumped right in with this prompt and just said, hey, I don't know if I'm answering this the right way or not, but this is what I heard, and this is what it pulled out of me. And that's what I want you to think about as you're answering this prompt for yourself, right? Like, I have had to face some fears of mine, and that took courage. That just took courage to do. So the journey that has brought you to the you that you are today is nothing short of remarkable, and neither are you. Okay, takeaway. That's the wisdom number one. Number two, your ghost ship isn't your life. What do I mean by ghost ship? If you have listened to all 66 episodes of the Soul-u-tions podcast, you have probably heard me teach this concept of a ghost ship. And if you haven't, wow, you're in for a life-changing concept here. This is a concept that I gathered from Cheryl Strayed's book, Tiny Beautiful Things. Cheryl Strayed is an American author. She wrote Tiny Beautiful Things. She wrote Wild, which was turned into a major motion picture. But before that, she was a columnist for a column the Rumpus put out, and it was called Dear Sugar. And she was the sugar behind Dear Sugar. And people would write in for advice. Back in my day, we would have called that Dear Abby, and it was printed in the newspaper. But this is the internet version of it. And someone wrote in and they asked her about this hard decision that they had to make. And I think the decision was whether to have children or not, that they had never envisioned themselves having children. And then all of a sudden they were at this place and with a particular person, and they thought that maybe they wanted to have children. So through the column, this is how Cheryl answered it. Whether it's this particular question that you are actively thinking about of, I never thought that I would be a person who, and now all of a sudden you're like, maybe I'm a person who, or perhaps you're like another person in the Soul-u-tions Labs today who said, I went to business school. I thought I would be in consumer products, and then I get married. My husband's a doctor, and we end up moving here and there, and I ended up raising 2 children and doing a lot of volunteer work, but never, ever going into the consumer product world. The ghost ship is that part of your life. Now, I really want you to picture this in your brain. You're out on the ocean. You're on this amazing pirate ship, beautiful sails, and it's really foggy out. And all of a sudden, you can see over here the makeout of another ship. You're really curious, what is that ship? that's the ghost ship. That's the life you thought you were going to have, but you didn't, because you're on this ship, the ship that was your real life. And like the word ghost suggests, sometimes we can be haunted by the ghost ships of our life. And it was so wild because in class today, it became apparent that like this idea of what this one woman thought her life was going to be, right? Graduate school, business, working in a particular area. And it never happened. And she loves her life that actually unfolded. And yet, the fact that that never happened kind of haunts her a little bit, and haunts her in a way of, did I miss out on something? Is my life not as valuable as I thought it was going to be if it was in this other way? And what we are invited to do when we notice these ghost ships and we notice these feelings that come up inside of us is to let the ghost ship go. Just let it go. And listen, I know that this is easier said than done. And that's why we meet biweekly in the Soul-u-tions Labs, right? If there's something like a ghost ship that you want to let go of, it does take an intentional process of letting that go, perhaps grieving the life that you thought that you would have. But when you do that, you free yourself up to love the life that you actually have even more fully. Is that proper grammar? I don't know. My husband's always teasing me about whatever superlatives and all of that stuff. But no, it really frees you to love in a fuller capacity, a deeper capacity, a wider capacity, the life that you actually got up until this point. And there's this, this little haunting, this little nagging, this little voice. It's like, but this didn't happen. And it's okay. Because what we really find out is that we need goals. Like, I'm going to go to graduate school and be in consumer products, right? We need those goals because they put us on a particular path. And we have no idea what life is going to drop in our lap, veer us off that path, right? But the point is to meet the life that you're given, to meet that. And so just like let go of the other thing and say thank you. And here's where this wisdom of having a 75-year-old perspective just was mic drop in the middle of class today. Because when she said the life that you thought, the you that you thought you were going to have, the courage it took to be the you here today, she goes, it didn't happen how I thought it was going to happen. I thought I was going to break these glass ceilings. I was going to do it this way. I was going to do it that way. Ended up not happening in the way that I imagined. My husband's job moved here and there, but I ended up in this role of mother, of working at foundations, of being involved in philanthropy. And what I realized is I did it. I broke all those glass ceilings that I had imagined for myself. It just wasn't in the way that I imagined. But when she shared that, you could tell she was not haunted by a ghost ship. And when you heard, this other woman share about her story, you could tell that she was still haunted. And so, this is where the coaching comes in. And this is what I want you to consider as you are thinking through your answer to this prompt. Find that ghost ship. If it's there, listen to it and thank it for its service of haunting you, and let it go. Like, claim fully the life that you have. All right, now we're on to the third piece of wisdom. Honor the woman you've become. Appreciate the version of yourself who showed up when things got hard. From facing family responsibilities to overcoming personal challenges, you have built your own resilience. You have built up your own inner strength by facing each of those unexpected hard parts in your life. That is part of who you are today. That is part of the fabric of you. I want you to celebrate that strength. It is what brought you to the place that you are today. This means, oh yeah, Tara, celebrate that strength. No, but I'm talking about getting granular when you're doing your journal on this. I really want you to honor the woman that you are today and really, really recognize, wow, that was hard. I mean, for me, there are points where I did not think I was going to make it. I had no idea, how am I going to make it through this point? How am I going to make it through walking into a bone marrow transplant unit one more day? How am I going to face the brothers of this little boy who is sick? How am I going to put my career back together? How am I going to put my marriage back together? I mean, there are so many of those moments that at 58, I can look back on that happened between the ages of 42 and 58. And if I go back even further, I can see other things. My husband and I were in a terrible car accident when I was 28 and he was 32 and broke 7 vertebrae. How we got through that, I have no idea. But if from this very safe place, and when I say safe, I mean psychologically safe, emotionally safe, from the place that you are today as the person who survived those things, it's always such a kindness to that previous version of yourself. Again, my hand goes right over my heart here. And I think back on her and I just want to hug that 28-year-old version of myself and that 37-year-old version of me and the 42 and the 48, like just tremendous respect and honor for all the things that she faced and for the fact she never gave up. And I just want to thank her because I am here today because of that. This is really powerful work, especially because, spoiler alert, it's not going to get any easier over the next 20 to 40 years either. Life is going to continue to life, which means it's going to continue to be 50-50. You're going to lose more people that you love, and you are going to have your heart broken and stomped into a million pieces. And yet you can pull on all of that resilience and the courage, all the things that you faced, and know that no matter what happens, you're going to be okay. You are going to be okay. And the people you love will be okay. So honor the woman you've become. Okay, number 4, the role of courage in moving forward. The courage that helped you get where you are today will be needed as you move forward, but it won't look the same as it did before. It might require you to get uncomfortable and to take risks and to embrace uncertainty in order to step into the next chapter of your life. But what you have now is the gift of exercising that courage that you didn't have 20 and 40 years ago. What do I mean by that? Well, I was just listening to a Mel Robbins podcast, and she was talking about doing the things you can't do, doing the things you don't think that you can do. And she says, what nobody tells you is that you are never going to believe that you can do something until you do it. I know it's a bummer, but it's true. So if you've been waiting to do something, to believe that you can do it before you do it, write the book, take a trip without knowing anyone, letting your kids go, whatever the thing is for you that you have been waiting to believe that you can do, what I want you to know is, you're not going to have that belief first. But what you can do is look back on the fruits and the role that courage has played in your life until this point. And you can know, oh, that courage created very tangible results in my life. I mean, I am here today because of the courage that I just relied upon within myself. And so I know that that courage, if I lean on it, will produce results. So that's why it's a little different moving forward. The belief may not be in whether you can do this thing, but the amount of belief that you have in yourself because of exercising courage, that is so much deeper than it was before. Okay. Number 5. This one is a hard one. I'm not going to lie to you. Releasing the guilt that you may have around setting boundaries. Ugh. Okay, the context that this came up in. When you are growing up and you think about yourself, and even when you're alive, when you're sitting right here today thinking about yourself going forward, you tend to think of yourself in particular roles that you play, that of wife, mother, daughter, friend, and business owner. But you tend to forget to think of yourself as the you that's playing all those roles at once, right? We think of these roles as siloed roles, but we're one woman and we're playing all those roles in the same play at the same time, which means we have to learn how to set boundaries. We're not individual clones like, oh, here's the mother clone of Tara, and here's the wife clone of Tara, and the daughter, and the friend, and the, Soul-u-tions podcast host, Tara. No, I'm just one Tara who happens to have all of these rich roles that I get to interact with and relationships in my life. And inevitably, someone in one of those relationships that relates to you just in that one role, right? Like my mom is just going to relate to me as the daughter role. And she's not going to think of me as the daughter, the mother, the wife, the Soul-u-tions podcast host when she wants me to do something. She's just going to be thinking of me in that daughter role. And that's okay. She doesn't have to think of me in all those roles as long as I remember to think of me in all those roles. And that's where boundaries come in. So setting boundaries is an essential form of your self-care regimen. You might have your skincare regimen and your exercise regimen and your food regimen, but truly, boundaries are one of the most essential self-care tools that you need to have in your toolbox. The older you get and the more responsibilities you have and the harder life gets. We think that it's selfish to say no to a parent who, is like, oh, hey, can you throw 55th anniversary cocktail party for me on the heels of your kid's graduation and your niece's wedding, and your work responsibilities, right? You're like, how can I say no to my parents? It's such a big deal and I don't want to disappoint them. And then if you get the courage, you're hearing a theme here, I hope, the courage up to say no, then you feel guilty about it. But listen, you have to take care of you. Nobody else can. And being able to, from a place of groundedness, from like knowing all of the roles that you play and all of the people who depend upon you and all of the responsibilities, like knowing that's actually too much for me to do right now. And you can lovingly say, like, this is what happens when you really embrace boundaries as part of your self-care. You really feel good about saying no to the people you love. You may not believe me, but I promise you, like, you value the roles that you play so much. And you know that in order to be that person for all the people, you need to be well rested, well fed, and what we call in the Soul-u-tions Labs, well resourced, right? So you get to say, I wish I could do that. I just really wish I could do that, but I can't. Even if that means that instead of doing that, you're on the couch watching Netflix with a snack next to you. It doesn't have to be a work trip somewhere or something else. Like, you can say no in order to replenish yourself. Okay, so no guilt. Give yourself permission to set limits that will preserve and reserve your energy so you can show up as your best self. All right, number 6, gratitude over regret. What do I mean by that? Your brain has a negativity bias, and it is going to automatically, like, when you sit down, just notice when you sit down to answer this prompt, like, is it picking up all of these little things? This is akin to this ghost ship, right? The things that you weren't able to do that you hoped you could do, right? And what I want you to see is that this was the takeaway of one of our members. Instead of trying to make up for the past that didn't happen, she could move forward with gratitude for the experiences that shaped her. I'm going to repeat that. Instead of trying to make up for the past, right? The things that maybe she wasn't able to provide as a mother for her kids, or maybe the things that she wasn't able to do with her friends or her parents. Instead of fixating on that, what she took away from the class is, I could move forward with gratitude for the experiences that shaped me rather than regret for the things that I wasn't able to provide. Recognizing that life's unexpected turns can still lead to a very fulfilling life. Last nugget. You are not alone in your struggles. You are loved. You truly are loved, and you're not alone in your struggles. And I mean that you're not alone, like, with the people who are alive and in your circle today, like, as one of my favorite theologians and poets would say, John O'Donohue, the visible and invisible helpers in your life, the forces of love, be they embodied, be they through strangers or loved ones, or the invisible helpers, just, those coincidences that happen in life, or that feeling of being loved and supported by something bigger, be it God, be it some sense of the Holy Spirit, or, just life itself. Everyone has their own struggles. Everyone does. So you're not alone in the fact that you struggle, and you're not alone in having to face those struggles. So one of our other members pointed out on this particular point, you aren't walking the path alone. There's power in community and knowing that others are experiencing similar things and can provide comfort and support. And she really said, she goes, golly, when she had littles and her parents were getting older and facing just the unimaginable diagnoses, she goes, I really wish that I had had the Soul-u-tions Labs at that point in my life, which was 25 years ago. She said, but I'm so grateful that I have it now. I have a community of women who are like-minded and like-hearted in the sense that they want to be the cookie of the world, right? They want to live their life having figured out how to appreciate themselves, understanding the courage they brought to the table, letting go of ghost ships, feeling gratitude over regret, and really feeling like they're part of a community of women who are gathering to give themselves time to intentionally think through these things. So I want you to enjoy these prompts today. And then, if you haven't yet, I want you to go to TaraSimkins.com and make sure that you have signed up for my newsletter, because I am going to open the doors to the Soul-u-tions Labs one more time this year. It's going to be in the fall. And if you're on my email list, which is what you're going to do when you go to Tara Simkins, TaraSimkins.com, no P. When you go there and all you have to do, first name, I don't even know if you have to put your last name, and then you put your email address and you hit submit. And you're going to get all this great stuff so that you're going to feel less alone. But then, if you really enjoy these kind of conversations, I really want you to join us in this next class in the fall. I want you to feel like this person who today was her first class. She showed up. We had done an orientation yesterday before the class, and she showed up, and she's the first person, just sharing. I don't know if I did this right. And you know what she told me when she joined? She said, I am so excited to have these classes to look forward to in my week. And that was something that made me feel so grateful for the past version of me who had the courage to do this and not know what it would be like for people. But, if you are looking for something to look forward to that is a way to deepen your sense of appreciation for yourself, for the woman you've become, to help you map out your path forward for the woman you want to be, and really strengthen all of your relationships in your life. Because after all, that's really what makes being a human just so special and meaningful, are our relationships, and just how amazing they can be. But reality, we all get tired and hungry, and sometimes we say things that we don't mean to say, and we hurt people's feelings and they hurt our feelings. And it's nice to be in a class where someone else has done all the research for you and sharing with you tools like these takeaways today. And then you can walk back into your life feeling sitting up a little taller, and definitely feeling lighter by letting go of things like ghost ships and regret, and leaning forward, free to give more love to yourself and everyone else in your life. So Anyway, thank you for being here for 66 episodes. It is such a pleasure to be able to present you with the best of what I find in the old world and the new world and, soul and science to bring forth and share with you to make your life and your relationships better. So make sure that you take the time to do this for yourself. Number 1, TaraSimkins.com. Number 2. And number 3, if it isn't a bridge too far, what I want you to do, and this will immediately just make you feel great and it will strengthen a relationship. I want you to forward this episode to a friend and just say, hey, I was thinking about you. I'm doing this prompt. Why don't you do it? And let's meet for a coffee and let's talk about amongst ourselves what we came up with. And until next time, I'll be waiting for you with a new episode, number 67. And thank you for being you and shining your light in the world.
'Cause I ain't done living the life I'm meant to lead. And I ain't done loving the ones who cared for me. The hope and the strength and the love and the smiles and the laughter of friends and family. Add it up, you'll find no limit to the possibilities.